Bill Gates had been pacing his office for hours. The sun had dipped below the horizon, casting a warm golden glow over the rows of books and awards that lined the walls. The hum of the city outside reminded him of the constant motion of progress, the relentless march of innovation. Yet, tonight, none of that mattered. Tonight, there was only one thought, one pressing urge that occupied his mind. He needed to speak with Elon Musk. It wasn't merely curiosity. It wasn't idle speculation. It was a profound, almost urgent sense that there existed a conversation that could shift trajectories, reshape visions, and ignite new possibilities for the world. Gates understood more than most the weight of ideas, their ability to change lives, to build futures, to solve problems that seemed insurmountable. And he sensed, with an almost intuitive clarity, that Musk held pieces of a puzzle that the world was just beginning to recognize. Innovation, Gates knew, was rarely about one mind working alone. It was a confluence of thought, a symphony of visionaries daring to imagine what others deemed impossible. And in Musk, he saw a rare kind of courage, a willingness to dream at scales others would call reckless, to confront challenges that were uncomfortable in their magnitude. That courage, that relentless pursuit of possibility, demanded dialogue, demanded collaboration. He reflected on the years he had spent building technology, creating systems, and thinking deeply about the potential of human ingenuity. He thought about the bridges between sectors, the intersections where technology met energy, medicine, and exploration. He imagined the conversations, the exchange of ideas, the sparks that could fly when two people driven by purpose and vision finally connected. The thought was electrifying, almost frightening in its intensity. Gates imagined Musk's response. He pictured the sharp intensity in his eyes, the rapid-fire thought process, the relentless focus on solving the unsolvable. And in that mental rehearsal, he felt a thrill of hope. Perhaps, together, they could tackle questions that had long seemed beyond reach. Perhaps, their combined drive could create solutions that would ripple across generations, touching lives in ways that no single mind could achieve alone. The night deepened, and the office grew quiet. Gates allowed himself to step back, to breathe, to recognize the power of the moment. The very act of wanting to connect, to exchange ideas, to learn and inspire, was itself a statement, a refusal to settle for the status quo, a commitment to progress and impact. He realized that this desire, this sense of urgency, was not about ego or rivalry. It was about purpose, about responsibility, about the profound understanding that the world was at a precipice of transformation, and that dialogue could be the bridge to a brighter, more sustainable future. He thought of Musk's ventures, the rockets that challenged gravity, the vehicles that redefined mobility, the innovations in energy that promised a cleaner planet. Gates felt a surge of admiration, tempered with a deep awareness of the challenges that lay ahead. The problems of the world were vast and interwoven: climate change, energy scarcity, technological ethics, global health, and each required minds willing to push boundaries, to collaborate, and to act decisively. As he sat in contemplation, Gates recognized that the act of reaching out was itself a kind of leadership. To seek dialogue with someone of Musk's magnitude was to embrace humility, curiosity, and vision simultaneously. It was to acknowledge that no one person, no matter how brilliant, could solve the world's challenges alone. True impact required connection, synthesis, and the courage to venture into uncharted territories of thought and action, and so, with a sense of calm determination, he began to draft the message, the invitation to converse, to share, to explore ideas without limit or hesitation. Each word carried intention, hope, and possibility. Each phrase was imbued with the understanding that this was not a casual conversation, but a meeting of minds destined to influence the trajectory of innovation itself. Gates paused occasionally, reflecting on the magnitude of the moment, on the ripple effects that a single dialogue could produce, and on the responsibility that came with such vision. In that quiet office, under the soft glow of the lamp, the world seemed to pause for a moment. And in that pause, Gates felt the essence of why he had built, why he had strived, and why he continued to dream. It wasn't about accolades or recognition, it was about impact, about legacy, about the possibility of shaping a future where knowledge, courage, and creativity converged to solve humanity's most pressing challenges. When he finally pressed send, the message carrying his invitation to Musk, there was a sense of profound purpose. He knew that the outcome was uncertain, that the conversation could take any number of directions, but that did not diminish its importance. The act of reaching out, of bridging ideas across minds, was itself a declaration, a commitment to growth, progress, and the limitless potential of human ingenuity. And in that moment, Gates felt a quiet excitement, a recognition that the journey of innovation was never solitary. It was collective, interconnected, and endlessly evolving. The conversation he had initiated with Elon Musk was more than a meeting, it was a symbol of hope, a testament to vision, and a step toward a future where collaboration and courage could illuminate possibilities yet unseen. The reply came faster than he expected. Gates held his breath as he read Musk's terse but unmistakably enthusiastic words, "Let's talk soon." The simplicity of it belied the weight it carried. In those 3 words, Gates felt the invisible threads of possibility pull taut, a current of momentum that could ripple far beyond any single office, any single mind. He imagined the moment of their first conversation. It would not be trivial. It would not be casual. Every exchange, every pause, every carefully considered word could carry the seed of transformation. Gates pictured them sitting across from one another, 2 minds honed by years of invention, challenge, and relentless curiosity. He envisioned the quiet intensity in Musk's gaze, the way his thoughts seemed to move faster than words, and he felt both anticipation and reverence. Where do we even begin? Gates thought, a smile forming despite the weight of the question. The problems of the world were enormous, sprawling, complex. Energy, climate, space exploration, global health, artificial intelligence, each a labyrinth of possibilities and pitfalls. Yet, he understood that the first step was often deceptively simple, a conversation grounded in curiosity, a willingness to listen, and the courage to imagine solutions unconstrained by conventional thinking. In this imagined dialogue, Gates spoke first, his voice calm but deliberate. He spoke of the urgency of sustainable energy, of the pressing need to rethink the systems that powered humanity. Musk listened intently, his eyes narrowing not in skepticism, but in calculation, in synthesis. Then Musk spoke of Mars, of the audacious pursuit of interplanetary life, of the necessity of expanding human horizons not merely for ambition, but for survival. Gates listened, captivated, recognizing the audacity not as fantasy, but as a necessary vision to inspire action here on Earth, and then, they began to weave ideas together. Gates spoke of leveraging technology for equitable health outcomes, of channeling innovation into initiatives that lifted lives rather than merely profits. Musk countered with visions of rapid iteration, of daring experiments that challenged assumptions, of risk as a tool rather than an obstacle. In that exchange, Gates saw the harmony that could emerge from differing perspectives, the fusion of methodical strategy with fearless experimentation, of measured optimism with boundless ambition. The conversation deepened. They spoke of electric vehicles and renewable energy, not as isolated projects, but as interconnected systems capable of transforming society. They spoke of AI, not as a threat, but as a partner in problem solving, if guided responsibly and ethically. They spoke of education, of empowering the next generation of thinkers to dream bigger, to question assumptions, and to act boldly. Every topic was a thread, and together they wove a tapestry of possibility that extended far beyond either of them as individuals. Gates reflected on the power of collaboration. He had long understood that innovation was not the domain of isolated geniuses, but of networks of minds willing to share, challenge, and refine ideas. Yet, in Musk, he recognized a rare alignment, a mind unafraid to confront scale, complexity, and uncertainty. It was not merely compatibility, it was synergy, the kind that could accelerate progress beyond the sum of its parts. He imagined the projects they might undertake together. Renewable energy initiatives that harnessed solar, wind, and storage in unprecedented ways. Space technologies that inspired humanity to look beyond the familiar. Global health campaigns that combine technology, logistics, and data to save millions of lives. Each concept seemed audacious, almost unattainable, but in that room, in that conversation, it felt plausible. It felt inevitable, if only they had the courage to act. And then, Gates paused, reflecting on the broader lesson embedded in this imagined collaboration. Innovation, he realized, was not about personal achievement, nor about legacy alone. It was about connection, about the courage to reach across boundaries, to engage with minds equally hungry for change, and to recognize that the future was co-created. The act of seeking dialogue with Musk was itself emblematic of that principle, a willingness to listen, to imagine, and to co-author a narrative larger than either of them. By the end of the conversation in his mind, Gates felt a renewed sense of purpose. He understood that the challenges ahead would be daunting, that failures were inevitable, and that progress required both patience and audacity. Yet, he also felt exhilarated by the possibilities, the ways in which collaboration, vision, and action could converge to illuminate paths previously unseen. It was a reminder that true impact lay not in isolation, but in the courage to engage, to share, and to dream together. As the night stretched on, Gates sat back in his chair, a sense of calm determination settling over him. He had reached out, he had imagined the dialogue, and in doing so, he had rekindled the spark that had always driven him, the belief that the power of ideas, when guided by vision and collaboration, could change the world. The conversation with Elon Musk, whether literal or symbolic, was a manifestation of that belief, a testament to the enduring potential of human ingenuity and the infinite possibilities that await when minds come together in pursuit of a greater purpose. As the conversation, both real in intention and imagined in his mind, reached its natural conclusion, Gates felt an extraordinary clarity. He realized that the true measure of progress was not in individual achievements, accolades, or the impressive scale of one person's vision, but in the courage to connect, to exchange ideas, and to co-create solutions that could touch the lives of millions. The dialogue with Musk, in essence, was a microcosm of the principle that had always driven him, that purpose is amplified through collaboration, and that the world's greatest challenges demand the collective ingenuity of bold minds. He imagined Musk standing, hands animated, eyes alight with that familiar intensity that had fueled countless innovations. Gates himself leaned back, a quiet smile on his face, recognizing the beauty of their differences, one meticulous, the other audacious, one methodical, the other instinctive, yet together, a convergence of thought that could bridge imagination and reality. The room seemed to pulse with possibility, as if the air itself had absorbed the energy of ideas poised to change the world, and in that moment, Gates understood something fundamental: conversations like these were themselves transformative. They were not mere exchanges of words, but catalysts that sparked vision, ignited action, and inspired others to believe in what had once seemed impossible. Every shared insight, every challenging question, every moment of reflection could ripple outward, influencing projects, policies, and innovations in ways that no single mind could achieve alone. He thought of the challenges ahead: climate change, global health inequities, technological ethics, space exploration. They were immense, complex, and deeply interwoven, yet he felt a profound confidence that together, through dialogue and collaboration, even the most formidable obstacles could be approached with creativity, courage, and persistence. It was a reminder that leadership was not about knowing all the answers, but about engaging with those who pushed the boundaries of thought, who dared to dream bigger, and who inspired action through vision and example. As Gates sat in the quiet of his office, the city lights twinkling below, he felt a renewed sense of purpose. The act of reaching out to Musk had transcended mere professional curiosity. It had become a symbol of possibility, a testament to the enduring power of connection and the limitless potential of shared ambition. He knew that the work ahead would be challenging, that failures would be inevitable, and that the journey would demand resilience, patience, and unrelenting focus. Yet, he also knew that with minds like theirs aligned in vision, guided by curiosity, and committed to impact, the future was not only promising, it was within reach. The world, Gates reflected, was not changed by hesitation or fear, but by action, courage, and collaboration. And in the simple act of sending a message, of bridging one mind to another, he had reaffirmed a truth he had long known, that the greatest transformations begin with dialogue, with the willingness to listen, to imagine, and to act together. As he rose from his chair, he felt the quiet satisfaction of purpose fulfilled, not through results yet realized, but through the courage to connect and the audacity to dream. The conversation with Elon Musk, real or symbolic, stood as a beacon of what could be achieved when vision, collaboration, and action converge. It was a call to innovation, a call to courage, and ultimately, a call to make a difference that would echo far beyond the walls of any office, reaching into the lives of countless individuals and shaping a future that was brighter, bolder, and boundless in its possibilities. In that quiet, reflective moment, Gates understood the essence of leadership, innovation, and human potential. It was about connection. It was about courage. It was about daring to imagine a future that others might deem impossible, and then working tirelessly to bring it to life. And with that understanding, he embraced the journey ahead, knowing that the conversation had only just begun, and that the best was yet to come.